we had a lot of these coronavirus related stocks gapping up over the weekend on Monday morning. Pre-market, we had tons of gappers. And again, usually when there's too many gappers, only one or two will run successfully. But as per the weekend watches I gave out for free every single Sunday, I had a few that I was already on watch on my radar, and one of them is NNVC and APT. And those two were my primary focus coming into Monday morning. NNVC, I was long bias on the stock. This is me selling my overnight position from Friday. I scalped a little small piece spec position overnight over the weekend on Friday afternoon around 10:80s, and we're just selling into the open. Pre-market highs right here and some more into the open. Because again, I didn't know it was gonna squeeze to $17. So unfortunately, I missed all of this move from $12 to $17. But again, I only had a small size overnight, swinging over the weekend. I understand it's a little bit more risky, but again, I've played these sympathy sector hype a couple of times now, so I kind of know what's possibly going to happen. There's tons of opportunities, whether long or short. These were my long trades. Again, I'm out on my overnight swing, so at the open, I was waiting for either a dump towards the 1080s level, or let it squeeze out, let it go without me to $17, that's fine. But I'm looking to buy the major pullbacks, and that's why I longed here around 1530s and added even bigger right here 1450s, and we're just selling into every single push. Like I wasn't gonna hold and see if it potentially retests $17. There were a lot of people swinging the stock short over the weekend. All the shorts were taken out on Friday, and they were just expecting this to continue selling off from $10 all the way to, I don't know, single digits, $7, $5. The ATM offering was priced at $3. So, you bet a lot of people were swinging it and hoping it would go down to $3 or $4 and they can bank. But unfortunately, this is not a logical play. This is a sector sympathy and a low float sector sympathy. So you kind of have to join the trend and join the volume. So I was selling into all the pushes. I was out of the scalp. Again, I was waiting for this $11 potentially. We didn't get that, so I want to be careful, right? Because I know that's a potential downside. I'm just playing the momentum. This is where I actually scalped it short for once because the stock was extremely heavy. After we break down this pre-market highs, technically speaking, we're going to retest the lows right here. And that's why I scaled in some small size. Again, I'm really scared about being short squeezed, like all the way up here at $17. That could potentially happen to me if I short and if I become too short biased. And that's why I'm shorting. I'm really quick to scale out some, and I was covering all the shorts right here. And this wash is where I got in on the long side. So you can play these liquid stocks, both long or short. There's money to be made both sides, as long as you know the risk and play with a plan. So that's the first big play for me on the day. The other big play is APT. Again, on the long side. This one was easy to borrow, but I was not short by any means on this stock. Again, I was waiting for a flush to 670s. I had all these levels prepared beforehand. We didn't get there, right? And there was some tiny support right here. You can see $7, right? $7 whole dollar resistance and risking 690s. I scaled in somewhere around $7 and I almost bottom ticked it. Added to full size, risking $7, just playing the bounce. Nothing complicated here, but it's a nice 20-30 cents bounce. I kept the core because this is the stock that I wanted for an all-day move, potentially to the upside. And you can see I added some more to the smaller size. Again, added some more. I fat fingered it on the trim size and sold some more. I was working around my core position, but I'm overall holding a 1/4 position on the rest, right? I'm adding to my position and selling into the rips, but I want to keep some for that plan, for that all-day grind potentially to test the highs. Kind of like the action we saw on NVAX last week, but we didn't get that. This stock was kind of really choppy midday. You can see every time we try to retest 780s right here, it gets rejected. And this is where I attempted one more ad, trying to see if we can see 780s and higher to $8 again. I got stopped out on my entire position here. And once they took my stop, the stock just moved up higher. So Unfortunately, I gave back some on my quarter size right here, but overall, this was a nice trade. And I was working, adding and selling from my core position and keeping, a core long position around 730s average, trying to see that potential upside to $8. We didn't get it, but that's okay. I managed my risk and I'm happy about that. So all the coronavirus stocks sold off today, and unfortunately, I didn't really get to take advantage of all the downside just because they didn't really pop that high for me to have a good enough entry. All the stocks like CLBI, NNVC, other ones like INO, they all opened gapping down. And when it's a gap down and the SSR is triggered, if I want to short, I like to wait for a big bounce in order for me to risk off and short into. But we never got any of the bounces. You can see all the stocks like CLBI right here just sold off, and same as INO and NNVC as well. There's just not a lot of opportunities for me to size in short, and I'm not comfortable chasing weakness knowing how volatile these kind of stocks are. So I only traded 2 stocks on the long side today, and the first one is AEMD. And even AEMD, the short side would have been the pop towards the highs and retest the $4 area. But this kind of whipsaw action, I didn't really like it, and the volume wasn't that great today, so I never got in on the short side. But you can see I got in long pre-market and I was selling into the push, and I was waiting for more opportunities to go either long or short, but it just kind of grinded down on low volume today, and just not a lot of liquid action for me to take advantage of, unfortunately. And the other stock is OBCI. They pumped this, I think, half an hour before the open, and right after the squeeze candle, there was just absolutely no one buying it. That's when you know it's a pump, right? You see some low volume squeeze up here on low float, and there's all the volume at the open, and afterwards just a lot of selling. You see some buying right here, but again, that was not substantial enough to reclaim VWAP. So that's why I scaled in short. And again, I have problem with my patience. I should have added here and added up here, but I didn't, unfortunately. And I covered everything pretty much for a tiny gain, nothing much. And the stock just cracked and went below $4 without me. So the first play on the day today was LEE. This stock was actually a higher float, so I didn't expect this much follow through so soon at the market open. LEE, this stock is a small cap, but it has a 57 million shares float. So I really didn't expect the stock to pop from $2 all the way to $3, like right at the open. They had some headline about they're buying the Berkshire Hathaway newspaper operations, and Berkshire was gonna finance all the debt. Again, we don't know the details of this deal. All we know is that this is the kind of headline that can bring some momentum and volume into the stock. And again, like we had 1 or 2 million shares volume traded right at the open, so this is no joke. I loaned some pre-market, volume was really low. Again, starter size, very small size, just testing waters like I've been doing before in many of my previous videos. And if I'm wrong with small size, that's totally fine. And so I loaned here. I had no idea we were gonna push to $2, like even before the market opens. So right before the open, the stock was pushing towards 250s, just scaling out some just in case. I want to give myself room to add to full size, which I did at the open. And when I see this kind of volume squeeze, there's 2 million shares in the first 3-minute candle, and I was selling into all the pushes. Again, a lot of daily resistance around $3 area. This is a resistance level drawn from the daily charts. You have to go way back to see the maximum you can see on the daily. Selling into all the pushes, and I was out most of the position right here. And this is where I added back to quarter size, trying to see more momentum, potentially to retest the highs, $3 and potentially higher. But we didn't get that. So this is where I stopped out of the rest of my quarter size position. So I did give back some profit back from my initial long entries up here and up here. But I was not involved in this sell-off. And the stock, as you can see, once we broke 260s, we just fell all the way to $2. In hindsight, of course, hindsight is 2020. I should have flipped short, but I don't like going back in, especially to flip the other side after I made money on the front side, on the long side. So that's the first ticker on the day. The other one that I really enjoyed playing today was NNVC. So this stock, as you may remember, I recapped yesterday. I didn't trade it. I missed the downside, the sell-off move completely from $13 all the way to $8 yesterday. I was not in anything long or short. It was a big miss for me because I was kept on waiting for it to pop a lot higher to scale in short. But today, so we did get that pop today. Because with these kind of stocks, I'm always hesitant to short on weakness. Because you can see this stock never popped that high for me to add. The highest it popped was $13 after a sell off from $17 pre-market. But today we did get that pop, and that's why I was scaling in short on the pops, shorter here. I was covering into all the washes. When it pops again, I was re-adding back to my size. And when it starts reclaiming VWAP, that's when I covered all my short here. So I was out and out here. So I did give back some profit on the second short because I recognize that momentum was shifting. We have a lot of buying volume coming in and we're reclaiming VWAP. And again, the stock was on SSR. So this is where I actually joined it long. So these are long trades right here. Smaller size. Again, if I'm going back to trader ticker on the other side, flipping the other bias, I want to be careful. I don't want to overtrade. I don't want to get in trouble. And again, this stock, we all know the stock is a piece of shit. I always want to be really careful if I'm longing the stock, even on the front side. I'm always really quick to sell. So the front side longs were kind of small profit, nothing big. But this is where, on this wick here, this is where I noticed a lot of sellers stepping in on the highs. And this is where I started to build a short position again. Okay, like this could be the potential top. I can short risking $11 area. So if $11 breaks and reclaims, I'm going to have to cover again and take the loss like I did right here. So I scaling in short again and noticing that this is a double top. Another rejection, hard rejection up here. When the stock tried to push from 1080s all the way to 1090s, it was met with huge sellers on the tape. This is where I was covering some into the wash, but I was keeping the majority for that big flush from 1070s all the way to 970s. That's $1 a share. So I was covering in the majority here. So the alt most, I had a quarter size left. I was holding and keeping a stop around 1030s. I was gonna let it work, and I was covering some here, and I was all out by this point. So no, I did not bottom tick, but this stock was a really nice trader on the day, both on the short side and long side, and then later on the back side short. So again, with these kind of low float penny stocks, there's almost always two sides of the play. You could be, just long biased or short biased, but for me, I like to know the both sides. So today was kind of a choppy day to start the day because of the FOMC during the day, midday, and also the WHO is holding a conference regarding the coronavirus crisis in China late day as well. So leading up to it, the market, the large cap market was kind of choppy and not a lot of things were moving. And also all the coronavirus stocks that we were trading the last few days, you can see INO was one example. It was kind of trading in a range, and you can see that things didn't really start until later on in the day, in the afternoon. And I don't really like to get involved in the afternoon, especially if I've made my money already on the stock. So INO was the first stock on the day. This one I've noticed in the past few days. So if you just zoom out on your charts and if you look at a larger time frame, this stocks, every time it gaps up, it sells off first, right? In the morning, you can see right here, it gapped up after hours and it pops at the open and just sells off. And right here too, it gaps up overnight, after hours and pre-market and sells off. So today, there was a huge gap up from about 411 close and gapping up to $5. So it's probably gonna sell off first. So I'm more long biased on this stock because they also had positive news about developing a potential vaccine for the coronavirus. Again, it's a potential, but that's a brand new headline on the day. I'm not saying long term it's gonna be good buy or anything. No, I'm just saying as a day trade, this kind of gapper with the kind of headline that's really relevant about coronavirus and also WHO holding the press conference, this stock was most likely gonna give us a higher volume move today. And that's why at the open, I was waiting for a dip and a curl confirmation to go long. I was waiting for the sell off to finish. I was waiting for the selling pressure to disappear, and that's where I started in long. After seeing this curl, risking the 455s, or actually 450 and beneath that, added in after seeing more bidders coming in and the stock just starts squeezing. This is where I took some profit around 470s, and I was hoping for more, of course, 480s and potentially $5, which didn't happen till after hours right now. But I had my stop set beneath VWAP, so I got stopped out here, and that's it. gave some back on the stop, but so could have made more, but it's okay. I don't like to get involved in these kind of choppy action midday. The other stock I played is RKDA. So this one, you can see I made money over here and I got squeezed over there. So let's talk about it. So this one was actually, they had some headline, was released by Benzinga Charlie. This stock has been known to pump with some midday headlines and just sell off near the end of the day. So that's why I scaled in shorter here and adding in bigger, added to full size, and was covering all the washes. And you know, I never bottom ticked it, but I was looking for VWAP projection for the stock to fall back down to 530s, 520s. And we didn't get that, but I was covering most over here. And on this pop here is where I started scaling in again, thinking that, oh, you know, maybe I can start forming another short position. So I was starting my short again, but you know, volume squeezed out and I got stopped out. This is why you need a hard stop. Even with that stop in set, I think I had my stop set just above, I think the high of the day was 608. I had my stop around 612s. I still had like a 3-cent slippage. This is why if you're short or long too, always use market order stops. So I got stopped out on my second short here. So took a loss on that. So it gave back some profit from the initial short entry. But I'm glad I stopped out and didn't get stopped all the way to 640s. You can see the stock later on just grinded midday and then dumped. That's the behavior of the stock. So be careful if you are loaning these midday pumps. There's money to be made, yes, on the front side, but don't outstay your welcome, especially when volume drops in the afternoon. So ending the Friday nicely. I try not to overtrade on Fridays, as you may remember from all my past video recordings. So the reason I want to get away is because I just did something really stupid on NNVC and gave back some small profits from the earlier trades. I tried to pick the bottom here, as you can see. But all these were long trades on NNVC in the morning. The stock had a huge gap up all the way to $19, $20 from the close of $12 yesterday. So I was long biased on this. You can see me buying the stock and selling to the rips and protecting my capital just in case it dips a lot further like it did at the open. So the idea is really just buying all the dips and selling to the rips. Again, it's a piece of company, so you don't want to outstay your welcome, but play the price action. And there's actually lots of range on this stock, so I love playing it. I think it's one of the best tickers I did on the week. I traded it a couple of times in the last few days too. But yeah, I made the mistake here of trying to bottom pick, and you can see I gave back some profit. So I'm gonna be done for the day. The other one on the day was LLIT. This one is a small one, and I really didn't do that well. As you can see, I cut it all out before the actual rip to 320s, which was what I was planning and hoping for. But the reason is I was watching NNVC so closely and getting in and out of my position so many times in the first 30 minutes of the open. So I literally just couldn't keep an eye out on LLIT. So I just trimmed it. Definitely missed some opportunities there. So ending the week nicely with the coronavirus sympathy plays. Again, with these sector sympathies, they give us a lot of range, both to the upside or downside. So whether you're long buyers or short buyers, there's almost always opportunities for all of us, as long as you're patient and wait for your entries.